So I pretty familiar with quite a few of you guys. Obviously, Brad, you're going into your second branch this summer. That's correct, right? You're not sales manager for Anthony. Cool. And then NJ, DM, and Irvine, right? Joshua, nice to meet you, man. I've heard good things about you.
Appreciate it. Nice to meet you too. Wait, I think I've already met you actually. I think you might have spoken at one of our like staff gatherings a while back.
That's probably what it was. You're Kubi's guy, right?
Yep.
Yep. I remember. Kubi's spoken well of you, so I know your name. Plus, your name's very unique too. So like when I heard her name for the first time, like that's different. I like it, and so good to see you, man. Joshua, just so I know where you're at in the business, are you going to be a branch manager this summer, or where are you at?
Yeah. I'm a branch manager right now for Torrance.
Cool. This is your first branch.
Yep. First branch.
And then Jasmine, I'm pretty sure I've seen you on the office report somewhere, correct?
Yeah, I'm
Cool.
the sales manager for Santa Monica.
Oh, cool. Sales manager for Stu?
Yeah.
But you ran an office in the past, right?
No,
You have not?
no, I have not.
Oh, where have I
Been,
seen?
yeah, I'm going my second year as a sales manager.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I thought I seen your name on the office report, like a district. I don't know why. Cool. And then Jason's OG. I know Jason. He started in Merced. No, he started in Southland with the school in Merced. So I know Jason super well. Mark, welcome. Nice to meet you, man. Mark, I just want to get an idea of where everyone's at. Are you branching this summer?
Yeah, first year branch.
First year branch. Where are you branching at?
Eugene, Oregon, where I go to school. I go to the University of Oregon.
So you're branching in Eugene, but you're from the Southland division?
Yeah.
Cool. Eugene's a good area. It's a really good area. Cool. Good. So we got a bunch of like branches and people leading offices right now. I just want to get an idea just so I know how to tailor my message right now. So I got some content with you guys, and the title of my message is titled "Your Best Summer Ever." Can I get screen sharing privileges, por favor? That would be fantastic. So I want to get an idea of where everyone's at right now, just so I kind of have an idea of like how to direct my message. And it's really good to hear that you guys are all running offices, because this is actually going to be super easy to work with you guys. One of my favorite things is actually working with newer managers, specifically branches and district managers, because I feel like at that point I can be pretty vulnerable with people. I can be my 100% authentic self, and if you hear me say some profanity every once in a while, don't take offense to it. I promise I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just being real. I'm just being raw. But I'm going to share with you guys some ideas right now that I learned early on as a branch manager, but I didn't really start internalizing them until a couple years ago as a district manager. And these are things that I wouldn't even say I have 100% down. They're just like what I'm actively focusing on, that I've found a lot of value in, and that have really allowed me to improve my career for the past couple of years. But the first thing I want to share with you guys, I think it's so critical to learn, is this first idea of like how to maintain high personal and professional standards for yourself. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about this right now, because I think it's probably the most important things. But I think it's important to distinguish what a standard actually is. Okay. Now, I know Joshua, you sold quite a few knives, right? I feel like I've seen your name like on the newsletter quite a bit. Is that right? Name stands out. Did you set a fast start record or something?
No, not a fast start record. I mean, I had a 10K push, but that's it.
Cool. This is one of the most important things to learn, especially as a manager and as a sales representative, is this idea of standards for yourself. And when I say standard, what I'm referring to here is that your standard is your bare minimum. Your standard is your personal zero. So a standard is what you must accomplish in order for you to feel good about yourself. So if your goal this summer as a branch manager is to sell 150K, that's your wish. That's your hope. That's your what you would stretch for. The standard is what must be accomplished if everything goes wrong. So if you talk to Jay Brad, your division manager, like this is what you can count on from me. This is the bottom line. We're gonna launch 50 PRs this summer. We're gonna launch 75 PRs this summer. This is like what you can count on me no matter what. And I would actually argue that standards are probably more important than your goals, to be quite frank with you. Because I found in life that we don't get what we want in life. We get what we tolerate from ourselves. So as a sales representative, I think a lot of you, what's up, Kubi? I think a lot of you could probably remember the days, right? Because you guys are all managers. You've obviously distinguished yourself that you can sell Cutco knives. Selling $1,000 in a week was like not great. It was like the bottom. It's like what you had to do to feel good. For some of you, that number was probably higher, 2 or 3 grand. But as a manager, you have to be asking yourself, well, what is that for me as a branch manager? What is that for me as a district manager? What am I allowing myself to cut corners with? Like asking yourself that question. What am I tolerating for myself? What am I allowing myself to slip by because no one else can see it? See, standards are what you stand on and goals are what you reach for. But when you have high personal and professional standards for yourself, it naturally raises your goals. I'll give you guys an example of this. When I was a representative, I was super wishy-washy. I sucked when I was new. Is that cool if I'm just honest with you guys? Like I'm vulnerable? Okay, I wasn't great when I was brand new. It took me a while to kind of get good at the rep job. I always had every excuse under the sun. As I reflect back, I was always busy just partying on my weekends, so I just didn't prioritize selling. I was busy just with my buddies. It wasn't until I lost my college financial aid, I lost scholarships, I lost my grants, like my senior year of college, and I kind of had like this oh shit moment. And I was like, okay, well, I could go get a job at McDonald's and make minimum wage, but there's no way I'm going to pay my college tuition that way. Or I could get really serious about this job selling Cutco knives. I was already at 30 grand in sales, so I could hit some high commission levels. I worked super part-time. But I thought to myself, what if I just really gave this job a fair chance? I've only done this job in the summer because it was something cool to do. I could make some extra cash. I could compete. I could have some fun doing it. But during the school year, I always had every excuse. But it wasn't until my senior year of college where I thought to myself, I have to have a standard. I have to have a bare minimum 0. And that for me as a sales representative was 5 demos. No matter what, I'm going to do 5 demos. It's just going to happen. And I created accountability for myself with my district manager. I said, Casey, if I don't do 5 demos, here's a $100 check. Here's my name. Cash this check. Now, $100 is not that big of a deal for a lot of you guys. But for me, when I was broke as a student, $100 was like 20% of my bank account at that time. So it's kind of a lot of money for me. So for me to like imagine losing 20% of my bank account for not doing 5 demos, it created that standard for myself to go out and do it. But what happened is that standard itself created a ton of momentum and enabled me to go out, run my branch summer, and then have a 10K push my first 10K push, because I was able to maintain that momentum for myself. Followed up with 20K summer, some other 10K pushes, and here I am as a district manager. And now I've had a 10K push around managing my office because we had to go out and hit P banquet. It wasn't a real 10K push, but it was 10K in 2 weeks. So I called it a 10K push. Hopefully that's cool for you guys. But that all began for myself because I created a standard, something that was very clear for myself. And I created accountability for myself as well. Now, as a manager, you have to determine what's that standard for yourself. Something I think is super important is personally scheduling PRs. I don't have to talk to you guys in division about that a ton because you guys have Kubi, you guys have Hayes, you guys have Stu, you guys have some PR masters, JFAR, you guys' division, right? You have a lot of people that you guys can learn from. I know Callista is like an up and coming district manager in that division. That's pretty cool. But if you don't have those clearly defined, you have to figure that out for yourself. What are you going to allow yourself to tolerate? This will build your self-confidence and it'll discipline yourself to go after things that are really important for you. So when something really important comes along your life, you're not going to tolerate mediocrity from yourself. This is also I learned from my coaching program. Now, I'm actually going to talk about that here in a minute. The second thing I want to share with you guys is focusing on personal development. Now, When I created this message, I'll be quite frank, I had no idea who the audience was I was speaking to right now. I wasn't sure if it was assistant managers, if it was branches or districts, or if it was like baby reps between 1 to 3K. But I think this is a really important thing to mention every single time, because some of you can relate to this. Have you guys ever like been on such a great group of personal growth? Like you're reading, you're waking up, you're doing your miracle morning, you're journaling, you're meditating, etc. You got your miracle morning groove, and you feel awesome, you feel fantastic, and everything starts flowing. Has anybody ever been that point in life? Quick show of hands. And then it works so well that you stop doing it. Has this happened to anyone, or is it just me? You know, it's so weird, right? It's like everything is so amazing in life because we're operating at such a high level. We're focusing on our personal growth, but then we take it for granted, right? And we think it's going to keep going, but we don't have to do those things that got us there. We stop doing it, inevitably life turns to shit, right? I learned this so much as a district manager. I would read, I would share the content with my people, and it'll be so cool, so fun, so excited. We get development, things are awesome, we're rocking, right? We're shipping some knives, we're consistent. And then I just stopped doing it. And then sure enough, people start dying. And then sure enough, our PR train funnels out. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what's happening? It's because I stopped focusing on myself. I stopped feeding myself. So what are you feeding yourself on a daily basis? What are you supplying your mind with? Everything you want in your life, it's attainable as long as you grow into the version of yourself that's capable of attaining it. So what are you doing on a daily basis to grow? What are you doing weekly? How many books have you read this year? How many podcasts have you listened to? Vector Connect audios. You know, I'm not great about the books, if I'm being honest. I'm on my 7th book right now this year. My goal is to read 20. I'm not on pace. I'm going to get on pace. But I religiously listen to podcasts. Religiously. I know Kubi is a person who does this as well, because we've talked about it. But when I drive, I don't listen to music anymore if I'm by myself. I just don't. Unless I'm going to the gym, right? And I know some people are a little bit different with that. If I'm going to the gym, maybe I'll put on some rap, you know, some rock, whatever, get myself hyped up. I can't run and listen to personal growth unless it's David Goggins. If it's David Goggins, holy hell, that got a lot of fire under your ass. But other than that, most people I can't listen to. But what you're feeding your brain inevitably will feed your thoughts, and it's going to shape your beliefs. So you guys have all probably seen the success cycle before. I've got to imagine. This is a Tony Robbins original. And the success cycle starts with your belief system. Our beliefs determine how much we view our potential. It's our lens of the world. And our beliefs shape our potential, and our potential influences our actions. And then our actions create our results. And then our results fuel our belief system again. See, what happens is that when you're not consistently focusing on improving your beliefs, your personal development, doubt will creep in. Anxiety will creep in. Imposter syndrome will creep in. I don't know if anyone here can relate to this, but I've been on the point in my career before where we're having great success, and I'm just waiting for it to come crashing down. I'm like, there's no way this is going to continue on this upward spiral. I'm not worthy of this. I'm just getting lucky. I just recruited a kid who happens to know a lot of cool, good PRs. This is going to fade away. I wasn't fueling my belief system and proving to myself that I'm worthy of this success. But those negative beliefs, they hurt my potential, that influenced my action. I stopped showing up the way I needed to show up. I stopped waking up the times I know I needed to wake up. And that hurt my results. And then I'm like, I'm getting crappy results. I told it. I knew it. I knew I wasn't the manager who's capable of selling 200 grand this campaign, whatever it was, right? So you have to be asking yourself, what are you doing to shape your belief system? Because your beliefs are how you view the world. So the greatest thing you can invest in right now is yourself. With everything that's going on in the economy, right? The housing market's like supposed to pop. Who knows what's going to happen like that? It might keep going up. It might crash. We have no idea, right? Crypto, I lost a shit ton of money in crypto. Did anybody lose money in crypto? Right? I was like, I lost a couple grand in crypto. This sucks. And then I talked to one of my buddies, Kutsi. He lost like 50 grand. He's like freaking out. And then he makes 20 grand a month. So it's like not really that big of a deal for himself. But either ways, right? There's so many things are external variables in the world that we can't control. So we're never really sure what should we invest in. The best thing to invest in is yourself. So like, are you listening to these? Are you reading books? Are you growing yourself? Are you going to retreats? If you're doing all that, are you involved in coaching groups? You know, I looked at myself 2 years ago. I was 35 pounds heavier than I am right now. I was overweight. I looked in the mirror. I felt like shit. I looked like shit. I just wasn't happy. Things are starting to improve in the business, but that's why I got involved in the coaching group. And I'll tell you what, right now, Kube, can I tell them? I probably shouldn't tell them on recording how much it was. It was a lot of money, but it was extremely outside my comfort zone. I'm like, do I really want to spend 5 figures on this coaching group? And I barely can afford anything else after that. And I took a leap of faith. I invested, I got on a payment plan. It's been one of the best decisions of my life because I decided to invest in myself. Now I have more money than I've ever had before saved, right? My office is shipping more than it's ever done because I decided to hire a coach. And it sounds kind of cliche right now, but I gotta tell you guys, it's the best thing you could do for yourself. Now, what's really cool is that when you're shaping your belief system, you're shaping your interpretation of the events because the things that are happening in your life right now have no meaning except for the meaning that you give them. So if you're in May week 5 right now and you're in $0 in sales, 0 recruits, and you've been pounding your head against the wall trying to get the funnel going, that's supposed to happen, by the way. But if you have that story, like this is normal, this is what's supposed to happen, I gotta keep pounding down the funnel, pounding down the well, and then it's gonna give. Well, you're gonna show up a better version of yourself. But if you're looking at yourself right now thinking, why is it not working? This sucks. I'm defeated. Well, then that's when you start cutting corners. I think about Chris Gehring. Chris Gehring in 2018, for the month of May, he sold right around $10,000 from the month of May. The end of the summer, his office finished over $600,000 in new business sales. So if you're not on pace for what you want to be right now, it's a part of the journey. It's a part of the path. But what's the story you're telling yourself, right? That's the power of personal development, personal growth. The third thing I think you should, let me give you guys some recommendations. I forgot about this. If you're looking for like things to recommend, here's some cool books. There's also some podcasts I could recommend here as well. I'm a big GRE fan. Does anyone listen to Joe Rogan? I love Joe Rogan. I wouldn't really call it personal growth, but I love it for the educational purposes. I don't listen to the fighters. I listen to like the doctors and the psychologists and all those people that come on. I think that stuff is pretty cool. But here's some really good books for you. You can also listen to like Impact Theory. That's a big one. Also Changing Lives, Selling Knives. That's one I always recommend. I would imagine some of you guys are listening to it. If you're not, check out Changing Lives, Selling Knives. It's pretty freaking epic. My third idea is forge personal habits. You're gonna notice that I'm not gonna talk a ton about goals right now. One of the problems of goals is that goals restrict your happiness. Has anybody read Atomic Habits? It's a good book.
I've heard like a summary on YouTube of it because I just don't like reading.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I do. I listen to audiobooks, Joshua. So like actually I listen to Atomic Habits on an audiobook. I just like walk my dog and just listen to it. Such a good book.
I sometimes like don't like I'm super impatient. I just want to get to the point. Like just tell me what it is. Like tell me the key and that's it.
You know, I get it, man. I get it. You're just like you want the goods, right? You want the nugs, right? Just cut through the bullshit. Tell me. But I find the best way we learn, man, is through stories. I actually got a cool story I'm gonna tell you guys here in a minute. It's actually an interesting story. That's the power of like just listening to the full thing. But I'm not going to talk about goals because the problems with goals is that they restrict your happiness. And when you look at goals, it's always in the future. It's always when I arrive at the destination, then I'll be happy. Habits are you falling in love with the process. It's falling in love with the journey. And your habits can be good or bad, right? Like snoozing the alarm. I'm terrible at that. I'll be straight up with you guys. Like that's like my worst habit I have is snoozing the alarm. TikTok, I've seen like one of my friends, she's on TikTok or Instagram like 4 hours a day. I'm like, how? How do you do that? I don't understand it. Right? There's also neutral habits, shower, brushing your teeth. But the importance of habits is that they create tiny wins and those fuel your daily actions. Remember I talked about the success cycle? Actions, results. That's the power of habits, is those tiny wins. Now, your habits are a double-edged sword. They're working for you or they're working against you. So it's actually more important that you identify bad habits before implementing the good habits, because those bad habits can halt your progress a lot more than the good habits. Now, your habits are going to be a reflection of your identity. So this is why I think it's important. They're a reflection of your belief system. Every action you take, every habit you have for yourself is a vote for the person you're becoming. So one of the ways I've overcome like the snooze alarm is when I go to bed, I think about who I want to be when I wake up, what I want to do. And I always think about Carson. I want to be like Carson. I want to be a Brit. What would Carson do when the alarm goes off? I've seen him. Alarm goes off, out the bed. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, not even like a hesitation. It blows me away. It's like 4:30 a.m. It's insane, right? But have you guys ever heard that saying, I can't hear what you're saying because who you are speaks too loud? Those are your habits. We're not judged by what we say. We're not judged by what we're thinking. We're judged by what we do and then thus rewarded or punished. So a question to ask yourself is, do you deserve your goals? Are you truly behaving as an individual who can sell personally 100 grand this year? Are you behaving as a manager who should be selling 500 grand this year, $1 million? And what's cool is that, yeah, your habits, they set your identity. Your habits are who you are, but your identity is not set in stone. You can change your identity by changing what you do and asking, who do you want to be? And clearly defining that person for yourself. What do you want to be known for? And once you have that set, track your habits. Track them, see how you're dealing with them, and that will surely form your habits. It's a positive feedback loop. Now, let me give you guys one way to improve your habits. I'm not going to tell you guys what you should and shouldn't do because you're all different. Like, maybe for example, I don't know if Brad works out. I don't know if Jason runs. I don't know what you guys do. I don't know, maybe Jasmine likes playing instruments. I don't play instruments. I don't know what your habits are. I don't know what you want to do. But what I can do is give you guys some tips on how to form the habits that you want for yourself. One of the tips for creating really powerful habits is habit stacking. It's pairing a current habit that you have of yourself with a new habit. An example of this is when I shower every single morning, I listen to a podcast or an audiobook. When I make my breakfast, I pop in my AirPods, I continue listening. When I'm driving, it's an audiobook. When I drink my cup of coffee in the morning, I drink a cup of coffee literally like 6 days a week. I read a book instead of like scrolling through my phone on Instagram. Now, am I always 100% perfect? No, I'm not 100% perfect, but when I'm tracking it, I'm bringing more awareness to it. It's something that's measurable. And when results are being measured, the results can be improved, right? As a representative, what I used to do is every time I made a call, I ate a chip. I love eating chips. Do you guys like chips or snacks?
Dude, I'm a fiend for chips. Like I keep the whole bag and like if no one stops me, like I won't stop.
I'm the same way, man. I'm the same way. So That was like my being in college. Everyone knew that about me. Like my roommates, like my girlfriends, they know if you want to make me happy, just hand me a bag of chips.
That's me. That's me.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
So what I did, because I used to hate college, right? I think most of us did. I hated college. So what I did is that I would trick myself into liking college by every time I make a call, eat a chip, eat a chip, eat a chip. One call, chip, one call, chip, one call, chip. And that's how I tricked myself into liking calls. And now I love making calls. So for me, it's hard to relate when people don't like making calls. I'm like, why? It's so fun. It's because I've reprogrammed how my mind views it. So if my assistant managers are making PR calls, I'm blitzing the hell out of those PR calls. I'm rubbing it in their face how much more PRs I'm scheduling than them. I'm a big competitive guy, if you couldn't tell, right? But that is one way to form a new habit. It's through habit stacking. A mistake to avoid is do not make your habits too vague. It has to be very clear and intentional and specific. So if you want to do more push-ups during the lunch break, it's not good enough. It's too vague. How many push-ups at the beginning of lunch, at the end of lunch? When are you doing it, right? Here's my fourth thing I want to talk about. Oh, Joshua, perfect. I was actually going to ask. Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna ask, can you give like another example of habit stacking?
Yeah. Do you have like a specific area of life that you're trying to, just so I give you a better
Honestly,
example?
probably be like just waking up earlier. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Here's something I've done to get myself into running early in the morning. You're gonna think this is really funny.
You might say you eat chips in the morning.
No. Something I did, I really hated waking up. If I didn't have to. If I have to wake up, I wake up. I would just throw myself on the floor and it would hurt. Like, I don't promote that to people. But I literally just threw myself on the floor. And it was such an ugly way to wake up. I was like, all right, I'm up. Right? I wouldn't go back in bed. Now I just I literally wake up and I just hop in the shower. But the way I've gotten myself to do that though is before I go to bed, like literally as I'm falling asleep, I'm visualizing exactly what I'm doing when I wake up. Like if I don't have a reason to be awake up at 5 or 6 a.m., I'm not gonna do it. I wake up around 7 to 8 if I'm just chilling by myself, so I'm not sleeping at 10. But like I know Kubi gets up like at 4:30, which is great. Mad respect, right? But if I don't have a reason to be awake at that time, I don't. But there are times where I do, and the way to get myself to do, I'm like, all right, when I wake up, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna shower really quick, wake myself up, I'm gonna make some coffee. As I make my coffee, I'm gonna read my book, I'm gonna journal, and then I'm gonna put my shoes on. This is the outfit I'm gonna wear. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'll be at the gym by 6 a.m. I'm gonna squat, I'm gonna do leg press. I'm gonna do leg extensions. I'm gonna do lunges. I'm gonna have a killer leg day. I'm gonna be home by 7:15. I'm gonna make breakfast. Here's what I'm making. I have my fitness pal, my food's all tracked, ready to go. There's a very clear plan. Does that help? Yeah, a lot of it's visualizing. Yeah, I'm the person where I need direction, right? But no one's gonna give it to me unless I give it to myself. So that's a great question. Fourth thing, I'm gonna go pretty fast on this one, okay? Because I want to give it some time for Q&A. Design your environment. Who you are, what you do, it comes from the expectations of those around you. We're the average of the 5 people we see ourselves with. So if the 5 people you're spending the most time with right now, if they're not living in accordance for what you want or where you want to be, they're holding you back. Let me give you guys an extreme story, okay? I grew up in Bakersfield. Does anyone know where Bakersfield's at?
It's like in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah. What are the perceptions of Bakersfield, by the way? I love hearing them.
Camping. That's where you go camping.
Okay, that's new.
Boring.
Boring. Any other ones? Some of your stuff. Tell me. I just expanded my my Zoom because I can see everyone now. What's up, Caroline? Sorry I didn't say hi earlier. Rianne. Is it Rianne? Did I say it right?
It's Ryan.
Oh man, I made it complicated. Ryan. Good to have you. Yeah, I grew up in Bakersfield. Not on the good side of Bakersfield. I grew up around a lot of negative influences. Used to cut class a lot in high school, had a lot of late night activities, doing things I probably shouldn't have been doing, things I wouldn't tell my grandma. Hung around people that weren't really going anywhere in life. And I kind of recognized that when I was younger. But I had a really bad home life. So I just didn't want to be home. So I was always out and about doing stuff, if you guys catch my drift. So I recognized the people I was around were probably going to put me in a bad position 5 years later if I kept staying around them. So I applied for colleges. I applied for anywhere outside Bakersfield. I got into Chico. I had no idea where Chico was at. I thought it was near San Diego, LA. I went north to past Sacramento. I didn't even know where it was at. 6 hours away. That's how I ended up in college. Just to give you an idea of who I was 10 years ago. Redeveloped my friend group. The friends I hang out with now are some amazing humans. I'm still friends with them to this day. I actually just visited one of them in Texas a few weeks ago. Got involved in Vector, fell in love with the people here in Vector, right? I'm very thankful that I got referred to the job. But to give you guys an idea of the people I was around in Bakersfield, 1 year after we graduated high school, one of them got convicted for murder. I think second or third degree murder. He was in prison for 10 years. He just got out. Another one's dead. That's a really extreme example, right? I'm in a completely different position in my life right now. I get to travel the world a little bit, have a nice, cool company car. I get to work from home, right? The district manager opportunity is a pretty sweet gig. Like it is freaking awesome. And it's enabled me to live this lifestyle where people look at it, they think, wow, how do you do that? I'm just like, I just sell knives, dude. I don't know. Like I just kept making calls and I just showed up wherever my manager told me to go. But your environment, it has to be conducive of who you want to become. Typo there, that's okay. So if the people you're hanging around right now, if they're not living in alignment with what you want to see for yourself in 5-10 years, you have to make a tough decision and change who's in your circle of influence. Does that mean you have to cut some of these people off? No, because some of the people that were in my circle of influence who were not good for me were my family, right? I didn't completely cut them off. I just minimized the time I spent with them. Now, another example of this, right? 2 years ago, I told you guys about how I looked in the mirror and I felt like shit, looked like shit, didn't like that, right? I recognized that there was no one in my circle of influence that was really providing a ton of value for me. I kind of hit this plateau where it's like, yeah, I was like, working with other people and learning with them, but there was no one I was really learning from except for my division manager, but he wasn't in the realm of fitness I wanted to get into. That's how I met Mike Chu. Saw Mike Chu on Facebook. It was actually specifically this picture on his Facebook story. I'm like, who is this guy? He added me a couple months ago. We got a whole bunch of people in common, friends, and they're all Vector people or old Vector people. So I shot this guy a DM. I was like, all right, man, you got me. Tell me what you do. What are you about? Your life looks like it's sick. I see you got a family, you got a wife. She's like beautiful lady. He's got a daughter. He's got the whole thing. He's got investments. He's got a really cool life. I'm like, I want that for myself. He's ripped. He's a kickboxer. I'm like, I don't know who this dude is, but I want to be like him. So I took the initiative for myself to insert myself into his life. Gotta say, 2.5 years later, it's been one of the best decisions in my life, right? I'm down 35 pounds. I'm stronger than I've ever been. I know a lot of people are like, man, when I was in high school, I did this. I'm like, screw that. It's about today, right now. What do you do today? I didn't want to be that person anymore. I gave NJ some of my stats in my personal bio. He didn't say them, so I'll just tell them to you guys because they're pretty funny. I'm benching 265, squatting 295. Squat's not crazy. I'm still working. I got chicken legs if you didn't know. Deadlifting 385, right? And it's nothing crazy, but it's moving in the right direction where I want it to go. And that's what makes me really excited. Now you guys got Hayes in your division, right? Freaking monsters, deadlifts 5 plates. So I know these numbers don't impress you, but they make me feel good about myself, right? And the only thing that I did was I just changed my environment. I changed who was around me. I got people around me who could add value to my life. Now, what's cool here is that you have here in Vector people like me, Kuvi, Hayes, who we're investing thousands of dollars into this stuff, and we're bringing it to you here for free. So like, are you utilizing the resources? And if you don't see someone in your division that you resonate with, that's fine. But do you see someone in a different division you resonate with? Have you attempted to say hi to them? Have you attempted to actually introduce yourself to them? That's how Aaron. Oh, you guys weren't here. Not everyone was here. Aaron Lopez, the Visalia branch manager, he was like the SC2 champ last year for the region, so 20K push. Didn't know a single thing about how to run an office, but he's like, hey, I want to be a branch manager. Put me in. And Jameson said, yeah. And then he hits me up, hey man, can I like live on your couch and learn how to be a manager? I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm like, sure, come in. And then when we have a room open up, and here he is living with me. But Aaron took the initiative to put me in his immediate environment. Now, I have no idea how he's going to do this summer. He might kill it. He might suck. I don't know, right? That's on him. But that's the significance of improving your environment. He's, by the way, the #1 branch right now in the region. That's not bad. That's pretty cool. My last idea: pursue big challenges. Go after big challenges. So I'm gonna leave you guys with this final question. What is one big challenge that gets you really excited? Cutco, non-Cutco. What's one big challenge that gets you excited? Write it down for yourself.
Can a challenge be like buying something?
Yeah, of course. Of course. A lot of people don't buy homes, especially in Southern California. That's a big challenge. That's something worthy of recognition. Right? What excites you? What are you passionate about? What gets you out of bed? Right? Joshua asked that question about snoozing the alarm. We talked about visualization. For some of you, you don't care about working out. That's fine, right? We got different values. Totally cool. But what does get you out of bed? As you're falling asleep, you think about, and it makes you so excited for the next day. Here's why this is important. It's normally not that end result that holds a value. Whatever it is for you. So Joshua, if it's getting your first Airbnb, right? That's cool. But what's most important is the pursuit of that Airbnb. If it's saving your first 100 grand, you guys ever heard of type 1 fun and type 2 fun? Has anybody ever heard this before? I know NJ has. He, works with Leslie. That's how I learned the idea back in my day. Type 1 fun are things that are fun in the moment. They're short-lived. They're external. They're often associated with pleasure. This can be eating. So it's good to eat in the moment, right? But it's external. It's reliant on something outside. This can be alcohol. You can fill in the blank, right? Get the idea of this. Type 2 fun are things that suck in the moment. But when we look back at it, we think, oh, that was really fun. This is like sports or exercise. Do you have any athletes here, like baseball players or basketball, wrestlers, anything? Any athletes out there?
Soccer.
Would you say water polo?
Soccer.
Soccer? I thought I heard water. Right? You guys remember those practices? Or they're just like terrible. Like terrible in the moment. But then you look back at it and then you win a game, right? You're like, it was worth it. I'm excited to do it again next season. That's what type 2 fun is. Sometimes it's studying for something you're passionate about. Have you guys ever had a class before about something you're really passionate about, really excited, and you have a lot of late nights studying for it? Take the class, take the exam, and it's cool. And you ace it. It's fun. Joshua is like, I hate school. It's all good. I didn't have that experience until I got to engineering, by the way. That's what I went to school for. But type 2 fun are things that suck in the moment, but the memory of the pursuit, it lasts a long time, and it leaves a mark on us. From those moments of challenge, those moments of struggle, and failing, because that's where we're growing the most. So these challenges should be so scary where you can't even wrap your mind around, man, what would it look like if I accomplished it? But not so scary you can't see yourself doing it. Like, I could do it if everything went right. That's what could be possible for me. And by the way, that could be something like owning 5 homes in Southern California. I know Koopy's got a couple homes all over the US, right? He's also a real estate agent. You guys have a great assistant division manager to work with. But everyone's in different positions, and I can't answer that question, but I can pose a question for you. What's something that really gets you excited to go after? So, Big Body Hayes, that's going to conclude my message. I want to give you guys some time for Q&A. Any questions you guys want to ask at all? It could be Cutco, non-Cutco related. Open book for anyone here.
That was freaking fire.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
What questions do y'all folks have? Great Dirty Sanchez.
What is the challenge that you're going after that you're excited about?
I can't tell you. I can't tell you right now.
Okay.
Can't tell you. It's unique. I can't tell you right now.
Why is that?
Because it involves a lot of change, and the change is not certain yet.
Okay.
Something I am focusing a lot right now, though, is being under 10% body fat, and also squatting 405 and benching 315. So like, I'm just dying on my food. Like, I'm just going. Like, I look at Carson and Hayes. I'm like, I can do that. Like, no disrespect to them, by the way. I know this is being recorded.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I can do that. Like,
Yeah.
So that's like something that really pumps me up. It's like fitness and health.
Nice.
There's a bigger thing though.
So I have a question. So when you're talking about designing your environment and like just like you said your environment must be conducive to who you want to be. Like I kind of like started thinking about like my environment now.
Yeah.
Like the people I hang around with now. And it's like I realized like I need to change that. Just because like I'm not as like I feel like productive as I could be. But the thing is just I have like FOMO, just like missing out on like parties or things like that. And so like I guess like the advice would be like, how do I kind of like change that like mentality behind that? Because like
Yeah.
in our reality, like I know there's gonna be parties like every time, and like we're all gonna get together again. Like you get me? Like it's gonna happen again. But it's just like in the moment, it's just like, oh, you know what, let me just go. You get me?
Yeah, you know, man, that's a great question. That's something I had to battle for a long time too. I actually went sober recently, about 2.5 months ago, like 100% sober. And that was something that I was kind of scared about, right? Like missing on those moments. What I learned was that you can still go to those events and have fun. Just don't be a jackass about it, or like go overboard, right? So here was my problem, was that I would participate in those activities and indulge too much, and then they would hinder the other parts of my life that were important to me, right? Does it make sense? So I still go do all that stuff. Like this is just how I live my life. But I'm sober at these things. So like, it doesn't affect everything else. I'm still having fun. I get to laugh at these idiots too. It's actually more fun sometimes. So it's learning like a healthy balance. And I'm not saying go sober, by the way. That's not what I'm saying. Like, no one influenced me to do it. It was really my own decision. I don't want to influence anyone else to do it if it's not in line with what they want to do, right? But it's like learning, like, I guess, the self-control, like when it's appropriate, when it's not appropriate, and when it's also hindering the pursuit of your other goals. So it starts overlapping with that stuff. Makes sense? Right? So go party, man. Just don't do it 5 times a week. Caroline, what's up?
Hi, this might kind of go a little in hand with what you just said, but how do you know when to be like tough on yourself, hard on yourself, push yourself hard, like more, and when to be maybe like a little nicer to yourself and give yourself time to recuperate from something?
you give me an example? It sounds like you're pulling from a specific example here.
It's not necessarily specific, but I feel like sometimes I overcorrect where I feel like I'll hold myself to a standard. I won't meet that standard. I'll beat myself up for not meeting that. And then I'll be like, wait, that's it. Don't be so mean. And then I'll kind of overcorrect to the point that then I don't push myself to do the things that I know I should be capable of.
Oh, so if you set a goal for yourself or a standard, right? You're getting after it, but then you start falling off. You beat yourself up a little bit. You're like, oh my, you fall off the wagon completely.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is normal. That happens to all of us. Here's what you should focus on, Caroline, is you're gonna fall off the wagon. Like it's just gonna happen. The goal is focusing on shortening the window to getting back on it. And being tough on yourself, like, hey, I messed up, made a mistake. Today's a new day. This is a new week. Let's get back on it. And you're gonna make mistakes. That's okay. Like I'll give you a perfect example. Right now, my standard for myself is I work out 4 times a week, but I shoot for 5 or 6. 2 years ago, 6 times a week was like insane to me. Like I couldn't even imagine that. I'm not gonna hit that standard this week because I have a cousin visiting, and that's okay. Well, I'm gonna hit it, but I'm not gonna hit it to like the intensity I want. If that makes sense. That's okay. Then next week we'll just get back on it.
Well, yeah. How do you know which goals are the ones where you hand your manager $100 check to cash if you don't hit them? I guess.
Because I had to pay bills, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like I gotta like make this happen. So, yeah, that was actually a really interesting story. I guess it just comes down to like what's most important to you. You know what I mean? That point in my life, I needed the accountability. I heard a story of someone else doing it, so I'm like, I'm not gonna lose $100 for not doing 5 demos, and it worked. You know. Ask yourself like how important it is to you. But if you can't, if it's not that important, that's fine. Just release the goal, move on to something else. That's okay to release goals like that. Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Let us wrap this up, and Hendog, if they have any other questions, can they hit you up on social?
Yeah. I was gonna say, you guys are more than welcome to hit me up on Instagram. I'll put my thing in the chat box. I'll follow you guys back too. I might follow some. I'm pretty sure I follow quite a few of you guys. Yeah, hit me up on Instagram. Shoot me a DM. I always tell people hit me up. A couple people in the Western region do hit me up. Someone I talked to a lot, Stacks. He's actually been someone's like really like, hey, what do I do? I'm like, here you go, just help him out. So yeah, I'd love to help you guys out.
Beautiful. All right, folks. I would keep us around for a little bit of a Q&A, more of a Q&A and a discussion, but I got to go to salsa dancing class tonight. So I'm going to tell you all to fuck off and have fun tonight. I'll see you guys later.